And we're back, everybody. Welcome back to the NBA DFS Slate Breakdown for Thursday, December 4th. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann, and come join us at LineStar. 4.8 stars on over 7,100 reviews. That is a lot of people that like us, our apps, our websites. They like it all, so come join us. We can do it for free. You can get a 7-day free trial through the app stores, Android or Apple, or come to the website LionStarApp.com and try us out that way. Now let's dive in to this special little 5-game slate we got today. Now, starting with point guard, our high ownership, we got Peyton Pritchard and Derek White. Makes total sense that they are high owned. I don't mind going to either of them. I'm going to have a lot. The big news here is Jaylen Brown is doubtful, and with that, Pritchard, White get just gigantic boosts in their productivity, and with that, I'm all about staying on these Boston guys. I don't think we have to get all wild. Both of them are in great spots. Both get huge boosts without Jaylen Brown. Next, we got Igor Demin, and the big thing here, no Drake Powell, no Michael Porter Jr. So additional usage is up for grabs today, and Igor likely gets some of it. And he's in a great spot versus point guards, so you got to like that, where the opponent, the Utah Jazz, is 30th versus point guard. The ceiling is there. It's just a matter of how much extra play he really gets without those guys. But his points per minute, 0.9. If he can play 28, 30 minutes a game or tonight, I'm very fine with his price, and I don't mind going there. Now let's get into some pivot action. We got Jeremiah Fears at 5,800. There is no, there's actually a lot of guys missing for the Pelicans today. Now we got no Herb Jones, no Zion Williams, no Jordan Poole, and no Missy. With that, our man Fears is going to get some extra usage. I don't mind going here. He had 35 last night in a similar situation, played 34 minutes, but, and when I say last night, that was 2 nights ago, actually, but that wasn't an OT game. So maybe he only gets 30 minutes tonight, but it's a decent spot. Minnesota, 14th overall. Fears has a nice ceiling, has been right around 0.97 fantasy points per minute all season as a starter. And you could do worse than going with Fears. I think he's appropriately priced, but there is a ceiling for him at this price, and that's why I don't mind going there. Keontae George, 8K. My man's been at 1.12 fantasy points per minute over his last 20 games. Now, I don't really care that versus Brooklyn, they're overall 9th ranked versus point guard. I think that George is too good and has too much ceiling not to consider him. My man just put up a slew of 50-point games in mid-40s or high 40s, and I think there's a good chance of that again. There is still no Kessler, obviously, no Kevin Love, and Yusuf Nurkic is questionable. If Nurkic's out, while, George isn't a center, his usage still likely goes up, and I like the spot for him. Getting on over to point guard on DraftKings. I think you got to pretty much just stay with these Celtics guys. I mean, it's just too good of a spot for all three. Simmons, Pritchard, White, all three, I think, are very, very interesting, and I wouldn't mind playing them. Ben Saraf at 3,500 is interesting for sure. It's likely that he gets more minutes. With that, a ceiling is there. There is a little bit of a floor with him, though, or not much of a floor, because we're not totally sure what his minutes will be. But if he gets a little bit more, we have him at 24, he is interesting. He's been at 0.92 fantasy point per minute. 24 minutes in a good spot. It's I don't hate the play whatsoever, and it's a nice little value spot. Also, Anthony Simons, I think, is probably going to go a little overlooked. And if he is still coming off the bench, he still probably gets 28, 30 minutes in this spot. And there's a huge ceiling versus the Wizards, and no Jalen gives that big bump. Shooting guard on FanDuel. We talked about Pritchard. We talked about White. Austin Reeves. There's no donk kick, and with that, Reeves has just a giant ceiling, and I think you got to go to him or LeBron or both, and I think he is more likely to go off than LeBron at this point in their career. Anthony Davis, 9,600, 5-star alert score. We talked about him in this Pelicans game. He did exactly what we wanted him to, but at 9,600, I do worry a little bit about the ceiling. I would rather just go to Reeves at 8,900 with, a similar ceiling, but probably a little bit better of a floor due to the price difference. So while Edwards is fine, I like him. I don't mind getting a little bit. I don't think he's going to go back-to-back 40 burgers on the Pelicans. So if I'm, getting away from some chalk, that's probably it. And we talked about all the other pivots, so getting on over to shooting guard on DraftKings. White, Reeves, Edwards, Simons, Murphy all look pretty good. Don't hate any of them. And willing to mix and match those spots. Small forward on FanDuel. We got high-owned Reeves, Edwards, and LeBron. LeBron is only 8,400, which is a little bit interesting. His last game, he barely made the 10-point mark. Has really struggled scoring the ball lately. 11 points in his first game. 13 versus Dallas last week. Only 10 versus Phoenix. If that scoring picks up, then he becomes interesting, but I don't love it. At least he's going to get more usage with Doncic out, and that's why you're going there. So I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite spot in the world. Scotty Barnes at 9.2K, 31% owned. Absolutely love this spot. Without Barrett and Podol, he goes up to 1.4 fantasy points per minute. He's been at 1.32, so he gets a boost there. He also gets a giant boost versus the Lakers, as they haven't been great versus power forward. So I love this spot for Scotty Barnes. Will be playing a ton of him. I've laddered his threes up to 4 threes, which is like plus 1,200. Unfortunately, DraftKings has me limited, so I could only put $3 on it. But hey, at plus 1,200, I'll still do that. All in all, I think Scotty Barnes is a very interesting spot, and I don't mind getting there whatsoever. Danny Wolf, 4,300. Without the two guys in Powell and Porter, I do think there's a chance he gets up to like 28 minutes or so. We have him at 24 right now, and he's been 0.9 fantasy point per minute over his last, 5 games or so. But all in all, I think it's a very interesting spot at only 4,300, and there's a path to additional minutes, what makes that one very interesting to me. Sam Hauser at 4K versus the Wizards. Jaylen Brown's likely out, and with that, a big boost to his usage. If he is starting, I think you can consider him because he gets 28, 30 minutes. If he is not starting and he stays higher owned, I don't love the spot, but he should get 24, 25 minutes, something like that. And at 4K, you could do worse. I don't feel like you got to play him. On to small forward on DraftKings, Hauser, McDaniels, and Bay. McDaniels at 5,500. Man has been shooting very well lately, filling up the 3-ball, and he's in a good spot versus the 30th overall ranked Pelicans versus small forward. So you got to love that aspect at 0.92 fantasy point per minute. I don't mind having a little bit. Saddiq Bey at 6,700. This man has been balling. They're still without a ton of guys. The upside is absolutely here to go there. He could easily put up another 40-point plus game. So I'm fine going with Bey as well. On to power forward. We got LeBron, we got Barnes, we got Wolf, we got Hauser. We have talked about them all. My big pivot here is Derek Queen at 6,800. I love this spot. Without Zion, he's just going to play minutes. Played 39 minutes versus Minnesota the other day. I would say he's a good bet for 32, 34 minutes, something like that. And he's been 1.23 fantasy point per minute as a starter. My man crushes, and he has a huge ceiling. He has a low floor. You know, he can give you 25, he can give you 30 because these minutes can be all over the place. But without Zion, I think those minutes are much more secure. And I think he's in an interesting spot here. So I don't mind playing him as a pivot option. Getting on over to power forward on DK, Hauser, Barnes, Sandro. Sandro's decent on a fantasy point per minute standpoint, but we can't trust the minute. So I don't love the ownership going there. Clowney at 5,600 is fine without Porter, as he gets extra usage and more minutes. More minutes. High ceiling, Cueta, 26% owned, 5,300 at center spot. He's a guy that I've been playing a ton, and I'm going to continue to do so, especially in a good spot versus the Wizards, who are 21st overall. He's at 1.14 fantasy point per minute as a starter over the last 20. Without Porter, he could get a little extra usage, which obviously is helpful, but the man can be a beast on the boards, and versus the Wizards, they're allowing 9.4 per game to the starting center, so he could absolutely crush this matchup, and very interesting. Embiid at 7,700. It is just wild seeing Embiid at 7,700 and not even wanting to play him. He's been upgraded to questionable, so there is a chance he goes, but even when he's playing, he's only playing 26, 28 minutes a night. The minutes aren't very secure. He hasn't been great on a fantasy point per minute standpoint. I have a hard time really wanting to go there. Naz Reid, 5,700. He has a huge ceiling coming off the bench, so you always got to consider Naz when he's mid fives, because he could put up a 40 burger. Derek Queen, we covered. Claxton at 7K. This pricing is up there, but since the beginning of November, he's been giving us ceiling games. He has 350 burgers. He has a slew of 40 burgers, so that ceiling is there, and it's a decent matchup versus the Jazz, and a 231.5 total. I don't hate it. And Rudy Gobert at 5,900. We are all over him versus the Pelicans, and we got to go back to him in this spot. He could just dominate this matchup. On to center on DK. We covered them all, so that is going to do it for us today. Please come join us at Line Star, 4.8 stars, 7,100 ratings. We got a free trial if you've never tried us out before, or we are $39.99 per month. Gets you access to everything. Please like, comment, and subscribe to help a brother out. Talk to y'all later. Peace.